Hello everyone and welcome to some more F1 My Team. Today we're here for the Austrian Grand Prix and officially the halfway point of the season, round 11 out of 22. If you haven't seen the previous race, the British Grand Prix guys, a fully wet race start in which we gambled on the Inters. Go check it out and see what happened before we jump into spoilers. And if you're going to enjoy this one, leave a like and subscribe as we kick things off with the Pirelli Hotlap. Now this weekend is a sprint weekend, more on that later. For now though, let's focus on the task in hand. So we're doing some autocross in a Ferrari Roma, and this car sounds absolutely insane. If you've driven it, you'll know what I mean. But overall, I've got to say, I'm starting to really get into the supercars. I said it in the last episode, and the more I drive them, the more changes I do, the more I'm actually feeling it, you know. I've got to make sure I don't overplay them, and that way I can actually enjoy them. But anyway, we'll go through the gates. You saw we hit one of the cones, therefore picking up an extra 5 seconds. Meanwhile, I'm absolutely sending it through these gates as we try to finish the lap in time. And I made a bit of a mess of turn 9, to be fair, as we now make our way into this final part of the lap where there's a lot of gates. I've done this one before, so I know exactly what to do. And this last part of the lap, I absolutely nailed this as we throw the car through there, and we cross with a 137.12, which is just outside the gold anyway, but then you add on the 5-second penalty from the cone, and yeah, we don't quite get the goal. So yeah, overall I'll take that silver. We get, of course, 500 acclaim, and 100,000 would have been the ideal, but instead we'll settle for 50 as we head into the race weekend. Now we're pretty low on cash, and the reason for that is because we just purchased level 1 on the fabrication facility for the aerodynamics, and we also had a failure on the stators, which we went ahead and repurchased. Also confirmation of the turbocharger, of course, which we lost, and we're gonna take action by moving on to power unit number 3, which, you know, should give us a helping hand, because of course the last race we broke down in our home Grand Prix in Silverstone, which was quite painful. So yeah, I was planning on taking an engine penalty this weekend, but it looks like we won't need it because we've got enough components to get by. With that said, we jump into practice here at the Red Bull Ring, now driving our car. We smash the track acclimatization with an absolutely perfect purple score. After that, we jump into, I believe, tyre management, and this was pretty damn easy as well. The car felt good. Overall, even though we're not the best team, we're actually bottom right now in terms of the performance chart. We're actually doing pretty well in the practice. I'm actually enjoying it, and the car feels balanced, so I'm very happy. And of course, as you guys know, we recently signed a new sponsor, which means we have to complete all the practice programs with the maximum score. So that's our objective, and we need to make sure we hit it. So you can see now making our way up to the line, we also complete the race strategy program, and overall a flawless practice session as we get purple in all 3, and therefore we scored a maximum 540 points out of 540, missing out on only 2 bonuses, which isn't too bad. So yeah, positive start to the weekend, and we'll take that. You know, the Pirelli Hotlap, getting the cash, getting the acclaim, and then of course practice as well, you know, getting as many ID points as possible. And then you can see we're now getting all of these improvements to, you know, discounts to other parts in the car. With that said, we're going to jump into qualifying here at the Red Bull Ring, of course, because after this we have the sprint race. So we're going to see if we can have a decent quali and set up a decent starting spot for the grid. The expected position, of course, is P2, but anything above that would be a bonus. So let's get to the action and let's see what happens. First lap, first attempt in qualifying. I felt relatively confident. The car felt great in practice. Through turn 1 though, we had a bit of a moment as I struggled with that corner all weekend. The outside curb, not particularly great for traction, and of course our car not being the best. That combination just isn't very fun. I also outbraked myself into turn 3, so straight away I just backed off and went to cool off the tyres and recharge the battery. I have enough fuel for a couple of laps here, so we'll keep testing and keep trying. Second attempt, we get blocked by Sonoda at turn 3 as he locks up and almost parks it on the apex. I still pushed on though. I wanted to improve and, you know, find a bit more lap time, and the delta now at this point is irrelevant, of course, as I backed off at this point. So yeah, we're just going to try and set a lap on the board and give ourselves a reference for later on. I want to try and go for 3 runs if I can, so burn up 3 sets of soft tyres through turn number 6 or 5, I believe. But we lose the back end there with a snap. We managed to catch it, but then we hit the inside curb through turn 6 and go for a full spin. So it's not been the smoothest of sessions so far. We're having issues finding, the balance, and for some reason said car balance has gone away from us a little bit compared to practice. The car doesn't feel as good even on the soft tyres. Nonetheless, eventually on my second run we managed to get a lap in at 1 minute 5.3. I went for a second push, and straight away you can see how I found nearly a tenth and a half for turn 1 alone. That would end up being my best first sector out of the bunch in this qualifying session. As we brake for turn 3, I outbrake myself again and then lose the back end, so eventually we just back off and give up. So with that said, we've got 1 more set of tyres to burn, and we're going to send it with 2 minutes to go. I'll give myself enough time in case I need a second lap, but let's do it. Let's see if we can improve. Up to turn 1, traffic, leaving the pit exit, spot the 50, brake just before, traction up nicely on the curb as we open DRS, getting a very slight tow from Daniel Ricciardo. You can see we're actually losing time on the Delta because I actually went up on the front wing a little bit for this last lap. Braking at the 80 meters down to 3rd, get the rotation, patience on the traction as we open the DRS out of turn 3. Only up by a fraction so far. This isn't really enough as we go down towards turn 4, braking just before the shadow. Fourth gear didn't quite catch the apex. Decent exit though as we clear Verstappen. Down into turn 5 or turn 6, trying to stay nice and tight all the way through here, use all the runoff curve and use the new line as a reference to turn into the next left-hander where we spun. Nice exit as we are 10th and a half up, making our way into the final 2 corners. Bring the car to the left, spot the turn in 50 meter board. Nice and aggressive over the curbs, and then the final corner, get the power down. Didn't really carry enough speed or get the power down early enough, and we only improved by a 10th and stay P22. So you guys know the drill by now. That is it for qualifying, and 7/10 off Paul Chair around the 1 minute lap. That is pretty painful. Only 10 corners. I'm very close to knocking down the AR for qualifying. I'm very, very close. I'll give it 1 or 2 more races and see if I can find anything. If not, we will make an adjustment, I think, and go down to like 105. And then for the race, I might go down to 108. I'll see how things go. Either way, that is it for qualifying, guys. And that is your grid, or at least the bottom half of the grid for the sprint race. Let's run into the full grid rundown and let's see what happens in this second sprint race of the season.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Verstappen, George Russell, and Perez, Bottas, Norris, Ricciardo, and Mick Schumacher, Magnussen, Vettel, Fernando Alonso, and Joe, Gasly, Stroll, Yuki Tsunoda, and Esteban Ocon, Latifi, Albon, Théo Pourchaire, and Martinez. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Right, it's time for the sprint race. Currently on the formation lap. It should be fun. 12 laps ahead of us. No rain forecast, and we're running 0.5 extra fuel. We're going to just send it, show some aggression, and see what happens. I feel like there's still potential for a decent race weekend. I'm kind of taking inspiration and a bit of positivity from Imola, really, to kind of drive me on. There was chaos in that race, so we could maybe see chaos again. I'm expecting maybe at least 1 safety car, so we'll see if that happens or not as a prediction. But in the comments down below, give me your sprint race predictions and then your final race predictions, and let's see if you were right. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's see if we can have a decent start first of all. Let's line it up. Not bad. We'll take that. And let's get the sprint race underway. Oh, decent start. Second phase though, got a load of wheel spin. Got the power down a bit too early. Into turn 1 we go. AI are going to be pretty chaotic. Let's see what kind of straight line speed we have. I'm running 11.17 wings, which is pretty damn low. Pool chair's going to fight back, I think. Uh oh. Steer clear, steer clear, steer clear. I'm going to have to take evasive action here. Probably going to get a legal overtake. Okay, fair enough. We're past the T-feet. Couldn't really do much about that. I tried to go as slow as I could and steered clear of all the chaos. So we're up to P20. Let's see if any cars have damage at the end of this first lap. Now then, we're going to see what our pace is truly like. Everyone's on mediums. No surprises. Pool chair, Latifi are battling, so we've got a chance to try and pull away here. Seems like early on, the AI looking pretty damn quick. Is anyone going to pit for damage or repairs more like? Looks like nobody's in, so P20 it is at the end of the first lap. Let's try and see if we can turn this up a little bit and keep the pace on. Ooh, Albon's a bit slow. On the apex of turn 3 there. Could we have a look? Closing in. Oh, I tried to get by there. Gasly and Tsunoda side by side up ahead. Careful with Latifi here, he's having a look. Gonna leave some space on the inside. But I don't want him to get by if I can avoid it, which we managed to do exactly that. Looks like already, because of the battling, the best we can do this race is P17. Albon's gonna pit by the looks of it. So damage for the Williams driver. Meanwhile, the AlphaTauris are going side by side and DRS will now be enabled, so we'll have DRS on these guys. Still got 50% battery. Not the best turn 1. Luckily, Latifi Pool chair didn't do that well. Let's see if Tsunoda puts some attack on Gasly here. We might have a chance to get by it. Into turn 3. They're still side by side. Which one's going to get DRS? It's going to be Tsunoda, so Gasly drops a place. Let's try and stick with these two. We might have a chance.
Caution, caution.
Ooh, yellow flag.
Someone's come off ahead of you. There's a yellow flag ahead.
So we have a breakdown by the looks of it. No, someone's gone off the track. It's one of the Alpines. No, it's Ocon, he's broken down.
Green flag.
Ocon out the race. Will there be a safety car? That's the question. I'm out of DRS range now of Gasly. Might just creep back in. Yes, we have. Oh no, I haven't. Don't have DRS on PN. I've got a warning. I've got nothing to defend with here against Latifi, so we're going to have to let him go. I'm more confident in keeping up with Nicky, so let's try and stick with him here and try and recharge and try and get him back before the end of the race. Oh, what? Again? Are you kidding?
And that's just 5 laps of fuel remaining.
I don't care, Elvis, mate. Poor chair's going to hit me here, I think. What is my AI going to do? Luckily, poor chair doesn't hit us, but my god. P21 is going to be our starting position for the race. My god, what an absolute disaster. Now, if I can, what I'm going to do is take a fresh engine, because that's our third breakdown now, and we're going to take a penalty at some point, so we may as well just take it this race. We're starting on the last row anyway, so if I can, I'll take an engine penalty. But Leclerc wins the sprint ahead of Hamilton and Sainz, And that's big for the championship. Verstappen P4 ahead of Russell, Bottas, Norris and Ricciardo scoring the final point. Perez misses out on the top 8 and the points altogether, along with Schumacher, Alonso, Stroll, Vettel, Magnussen, Guan Yu Zhou, Pierre Gasly, Latifi, Terpolchair, Tsunoda, Albon, myself and Ocon at the back. So standings really quickly. Sainz is just 1 point clear now. We've lost a bit of ground to Ricciardo, but 6 points adrift. Gasly, luckily, is still 5 behind, and we're looking pretty safe on this front. P14 still looks okay for now. Constructors as well. Aston Martin did, get a few points last time out, but we're still looking pretty decent. Anyway, let's get into the race and hopefully change the engine. Now then, the MGUH is what packed up in that race, and that was a brand new one. We put that on for that race. Now we could, mix up the components, but we're starting from the back, so let's just take the pain, man. Officially, by rule, we can take this. So basically, if you guys don't know, a quick little lesson. A lot of you might wonder, why don't I stack up on engines? Because it's not realistic. You're meant to use up your allocation first, which is mandatory, and then once you go through your mandatory allocation, your 3 engines, then you start to add them on. But until you use the 3, you can't stack them. So we've used all 3 now at some point, so we can now go ahead and stack them up. So we'll take one of everything basically and just send it for the race. So I'm not expecting miracles. I still think we're going to struggle. I mean, you saw the pace for yourself, but still, we'll give it a shot and see what happens. Either way, a 50% race is longer, so more opportunities, and hopefully we can stem the pace a bit better.
This is it then, race day in Spielberg for this year's Austrian Grand Prix. Not long to go before our drivers hurtle off the line and into the first turn, the Niki Lauda curve. It was renamed in 2019 in memory of one of Formula One's most beloved figures. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of around 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill of turn 3. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Sainz, Verstappen, George Russell, and Bottas, Norris, Ricciardo, Perez, and Mick Schumacher, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Sebastian Vettel, and Magnussen, Gasly, Latifi, Terpolchair, and Guan Yu Zhou, Tsunoda, Albon, Ocon, and Martinez. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Here we are back in the office for part number 2, this time for the race. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes smooth. I'm kind of hoping a bit of luck goes our way and we have a decent race. Now, medium to hard tyre, that's kind of the strategy really. Hard tyre is tempting to start on and try and make work, but I don't think it's worth the risk, having the cold tyres and struggling for grip, especially early on. I'm going to go with 0.8 extra fuel. I seem to burn quite a bit in the sprint race, I noticed, so we're going to run a little bit more than usual. Setup wise, I can't really change much, to be honest with you. I'll go plus 1 click down on the front wing to try and give myself a bit of front end, and I'll make a few adjustments to the diff as well. Tyre pressures, I don't know what to do here, to be honest with you. I feel like I want to run minimum, but also I'm running harder tyres, so I might just bump it up by a click, give myself a bit more temp and a bit more grip. So let's get into it. Formation lap part 2, let's get it lined up and hopefully it all goes well. Okay, let's do this again. Hopefully we can line her up nicely and get a little bit closer than last time. Trying to burn the rears up and get at 90 degrees Celsius. Right, here we go. Let's line her up. No, I done that perfectly. That was 0.1. How's that red? Never mind. Right, let's get into it. Great start yet again. Can't really go anywhere though into turn 1. I'm going to try to get a decent exit. Nice. But a little bit less front wing might come in handy. to give us a bit more of an edge on the straights. Albon though staying ahead for now. Hold it, we're taken to the outside to avoid hitting someone as we go through turn 3. Somehow I've passed 3 cars, no idea how, I literally went slow on purpose. The game hasn't given me any warning, so fair play. Snow's going to come back here, because I'm not using any battery. Snow gets back ahead, fair play. I'm not going to fight it too hard, we saw he was quicker than us in the sprint, so it's a pointless battle. But I want to keep my eye on Latifi and Paul Chair, those two we know are my kind of pace, so I want to try and get those two if I can. But so far, even though it wasn't the cleanest, the most legal overtake, we've got past 2 cars and we've stayed alive, so that's the main thing. Bit of chaos here into turn 9, I can see a car into the pits. Car running wide at the final corner, one of the Aston Martins. It's all going a bit manic. AI getting a bit out of shape. Ocon's going to get by here. I'm not going to fight him too hard. 3 cars in the pits, including a Ferrari, and we've got action into turn 1. 3 abreast. Vettel, Gasly, and Zhou Guanyu. Look at this. It's about to get dicey up in here. Let's have a look if we can get the elbows out. I really wanted to make it 3 wide there, but we'll hang back. Tsunoda, or in this case Ocon, sorry, going to the outside. Let's see if I can get Latifi. I'm going to burn up the battery and hope it pays off. Oh, Latifi almost T-boned Tsunoda there. Still couldn't quite get it done. Now Ocon's coming into play. This is a great scrap, all for P11 at the front of this train. Oh, okay, Zhou Guanyu into the pits. Debris on track. Gasly in the pits as well. Zhou Guanyu and Pierre racing into the pit entry. Latifi out of shape. Out the final corner.
Okay, DRS is now available.
I'm going to try it. Around the outside, bit of contact.
On track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. The amount of front wings everywhere. Been a pretty dirty start so far. Obviously, oh my god, Elvis talking about all the bits of contact on the last lap and this one as well. P14, my god, so many cars have taken themselves out. And we're up to a pretty decent standard here. Let's see if we can stick with Tsunoda and Paul Chair up to P12. We'd love to see it. Tsunoda's damaged. Tsunoda's damaged. Another one who is in trouble. He's going to pit. This is awkward for me. So we have to take the low line, the slow line around the outside. That's going to put Albon on the back of us here and put us under pressure. P13 though. Absolutely insane. Still no points for this, but obviously it's refreshing to not be last. Personal best, 1 minute 7.8. Ocon got past Albon on that lap, which just helps take the pressure off for now, but I am out of the RS, so we're going to have to probably let these guys by at some point, as I don't have anything to defend with. First warning for track limits on lap 5. Not ideal. Albon in the pits with damage as well. We're going to let Ocon go here. I'm not going to fight it. Paul Chair's faster than me. Unlike a sprint race, he's got more pace. I don't really have an answer right now. I wonder if maybe he had damage in the sprint. There goes Ocon though. I'm going to try my best to hang on to him if I can. Out of range now with Ocon's DRS. Personal best on that lap. I was pushing as much as I could, but that is it. That's all I've got. Let's see if Ocon can cost Paul Chair a little bit of time and I can close up the gap a little bit. Ocon getting past Paul Chair, meanwhile Sainz is now within my DRS and dragging Bottas with him. This won't take long. Sainz may even get me out of turn 3 here, so let's stay on board for a second. I'm not using battery, I'm trying to recharge. I'm up to 30%. Here comes Carlos, who has work to do. You know, the championship, his 1 point lead is about to go after this race because of the damage, so Leclerc's out front all by himself. This is a recovery race now for Carlos. Here he goes. We'll leave the outside wide open for him to drive into. And we'll do the same for Bottas. If he can even wait that long, we might use a bit of battery just to stay ahead.
I've got some information on Alonso. They've got some kind of mechanical problem.
You'd love to see it. So we'll hopefully gain another place soon, depending on how bad that issue is. Make sure I nab some DRS. It's actually Sainz pits, so that worked out pretty well. Bottas as well, so no real time lost. And we'll get some DRS as a freebie, so thank you, Carlos. Thank you, mate, appreciate it. Okay, it's time to box. Been pretty quiet, just driving, really doing my own thing. Paul Chair's got some great pace. He's doing a really good job. He's actually now catching up to Alonso. Of course, he's struggling with this car. But we're going to box for a one and only stop of the race for the hard tyre. Going to rejoin behind Sainz and Bottas and possibly a few others, to be fair. Let's see how it goes. To be fair, I say that. It might just be Bottas. Purple turning. Let's see if that works out for us or not. That worked out okay, 2.3. And we're going to be behind Bottas comfortably.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
Fuel's a bit of a concern. I'm burning through it a bit too quickly for my liking. But anyway, let's get these tyres switched on. Going to the end now. So there's a safety car, late safety car. We've got a fresh set of soft tyres to burn if necessary. I will take a P16 though. That is a decent place to finish. Paul Chair and Alonso leaving the pit exit right now. So we'll gain a little bit on them. Not a lot. We'll see how long Alonso's issues last for. If it's for the rest of the race, and we may have a chance of catching him. Kind of hoping they both battle a little bit. That would help cost them both time. I'm pretty happy right now in the hard tyre. Feels pretty consistent. I'm matching my personal best. Paul Chair and Alonso are still battling away, and they're losing a bit of time, so suits me. I mean, they do pull away in the DRS zones, but then the corners they're battling. I'm trying to stay ahead of Gasly and Stroll, who are catching me pretty quickly. I think they are going to catch me up, but we'll try and stay ahead as long as we can. George Russell in the pit lane for a set of soft tyres. He'll rejoin ahead of us, so I don't think we'll pass him anyway. But some issue for the Mercedes driver. I did get a message last lap saying there'd been some sort of contact on track, so maybe George was involved. Still though, P16 for us. Warning number 2 for track limits. I'm trying to use higher gears to save fuel, so it's costing me a bit of time, but we need to make it to the end, so fuel saving is needed. I'm also going to save my battery. We're going to basically save up until Pierre arrives, and then we'll try to fight.
Here's some information on Tsunoda for you. They seem to have an issue.
I think Tsunoda's behind, so not really a concern, but cheers for the warning. Yellow flag in sector 3, that is Tsunoda, so he's actually slowing down. This could trigger a late twist in the race. Let's see what happens. I'm just trying to manage fuel at the moment. Looks like Tsunoda's into the pits, so whatever it was, he may have had a puncture or something, but he's managed to get the car back, so no further danger. Looks like we're going to get lapped, which I don't mind. That's a little bit of a favour. One less lap of fuel worth saving. The new championship leader Charles Leclerc coming through. We'll tactically let him by here so that I get DRS for the next straight. And try to lose the least amount of time possible. Gasly has now arrived. I managed to actually save fuel in the last lap, so just got to try and keep that up. Also saving battery up to 70%. But Pierre is now on the scene. He has now arrived, so it's about to get spicy. Gasly's in range here. Here he comes. I'm going to tactically let him go. I should get DRS for this next straight. Yes, we do. Gasly's going to fight though. Look at the straight line speed of the AlphaTauri. Going to have to get back across. Into turn 4. This is a great little scrap, this is. Taking on Pedro Gaseoso. Lovely, there we go, we stayed ahead. Oh, Gasly pits. Possible damage maybe in combat. He did tap my left for a little bit out of turn number 5. Maybe he got end plate damage, although it seemed quite a small hit. So that's going to be it for the battle anyway. I think we're going to be okay now to bring this home in P16, unless something dramatic happens. Blue flag for Hamilton. Meanwhile, George Russell was in the pit lane. We'll let Lewis go out of turn 1. Come on, Lewis. Go ahead, son. Or just drive into the back of me. Okay. Go on, mate. Off you go. You're going to give me a penalty if you don't drive by. That was really strange. Don't know what Lewis done there, but we'll get DRS for this straight anyway. Yellow flag on the main straight. One of the Haas cars are broken down, so that's going to be a place that we gain for free. Paul Chair is going to move up into the top 13. Could we get a late twist of the towel and a late safety car maybe? Mick Schumacher out the race. This is great timing. If it does come out now, we can just pit straight away. I don't think it is though. I think we're not getting the safety car this race. Here we go, last lap of the race. Not a bad one to be fair. Obviously still lacking pace, but still it feels quite good to take a full engine penalty and finish P15. And your teammate finishes P14, so a decent result for us. And hopefully we can build some confidence moving forward.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
A fantastic team effort then to secure victory here in the Styrian Alps. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari, do it again.
And there we have it. Job done. Results are in for the Austrian Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc with the pole, win and the fastest lap, and presumably led every lap as well, I'm going to say. Hamilton second, Lando Norris on the podium in P3 ahead of Verstappen, Perez, Ricciardo. Sainz recovers to P7, Magnussen, Bottas, Vettel round out the top 10 with Ocon missing out on the points, along with Alonso, Russell, Paul Chair, myself, Stroll, Zhou Guanyu, Nicholas Latifi, Pierre Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda, Alex Albon and Mick Schumacher retiring towards the end. Standings, you have a new championship leader, Charles Leclerc, 19 points clear at the top. Sainz drops to second, Hamilton third, and then you've got Verstappen and Russell rounding out the top 5. We're still P14, which is good. Ocon is now our next target as Ricciardo scored a decent amount of points here today. Still got a healthy gap over Pierre. Vettel of course scored a point today. In the Constructors, we're still 2 points clear from AlphaTauri, but Aston Martin did score a point with Seb here today, so we've still got that cushion, but we need to try and get a couple of points at some point. The gap to Alfa Romeo is way too big, so it's definitely a battle between us four to try and get P8. But yeah, let's get into upgrades and let's see what we can do. Hopefully there's a break because I need to get some upgrades on. I think if we're lucky, we should have 4 upgrades in the car for the next race, if not at least 3. Now we have a situation on our hands. I bought a department upgrade last time out and it's backfired because we need to renegotiate a contract. So can I shut down a facility? I might do it on the durability to try and save myself some cash. I think we're going to shut down quality control. Oh, never mind, I've shut down the whole thing. We'll leave it shut down for now. We'll bring that back in a moment. But we don't have cash. What am I going to do? Let's see. I can definitely drag this on a couple of days. Whether we get enough cash in that time, that's the question. Let me see what I can do. Now then, we have activities. The first thing I want to do is gain any form of cash I possibly can. So, sponsor advertisement, 4-day activity. And then to add to that, I don't really want to spend any cash. They're all quite expensive. So we'll go for these, and that leaves a day free. We'll go for second driver external training. on that last one, as we won't need the cash bar then. Right, R&D. Can we buy anything at the moment? Tertiary wing flaps, 1,300. That's quite expensive. They're all quite expensive, to be fair. Chassis, we're maxed out. Engine, stated is due to arrive soon. I think we're going to go and hold on to these points. I don't want to spend them just for the sake of spending them. I'm wondering, do we call in a favour from an old friend? I'm torn between Aiken, Lawson. Out of the choices I have, I don't have Piastri available. Oh, I do actually for $1 million, but we're just short. Let me try and go for Piastri. Approach declined. Okay, I thought I might have got away with that, but maybe not. In that case, I think we're going to call up an old friend and bring back Jack Aiken. Why not? Let's go for it. If you guys, of course, are dedicated viewers, you know he was our teammate. He wants 800k, so let's give it to him. Hopefully he accepts. There we go. A shock driver transfer. I'm sad to see Porsche go. He's been excellent as a teammate, and we might go back for him in the future. But unfortunately, my mistake. We, managed our funds incorrectly, so we had to take this decision. But for now, Jack, mate, welcome back. Let's get to work. Now, with that done, we can go ahead and restart the facility. As I thought I could have got the cash back straight away, but clearly that's not how it works. You can't take back upgrades. So with that done, we can't do much more right now. We've got 140k, not a lot of cash, 1,500 R&D points. However, there is a chance we could be level 10 by the time we get to the next race, and also we've got 3 upgrades on the way. I'm hoping they all arrive and don't fail. Fingers crossed. Straight away. 600 points, 15 days to arrive. It's going to miss the next race, which is really annoying. I want these upgrades on the car to help us have a better car. God. Okay, so we're at the French Grand Prix. That's the next event. Pirelli Hotlap will take care of that. Let's talk about upgrades. Aero, streamlined suspension arms, drag reduction has arrived. Our next focus is going to be side pod profile, and we're wasting no time. We're getting straight onto it because drag reduction is the key on the aero. After that, we'll work for the tertiary wing flaps for hopefully some discounts, the rear wing upper flap as well. We'll get some juicy discounts with practice, hopefully. To go with that, the stators have arrived, which we of course had foul. This is for the ERS, so we need that because the ERS doesn't last very long, so that's going to help us out a little bit in terms of it being a bit more reliable overall. Worth noting, engine's maxed out, so we need to get fabrication level 2, or in this case spec 1, ASAP on the facility. So that's going to be our very next purchase because we need to improve the powertrain. Simple as that. We're not getting a supplier upgrade until August, and we're currently in July, so we've got about a month ago, maybe 1 or 2 more races, but even still we need to get that facility level 1 on. So like I said, we're very close now to level 10 Acclaim. Once we get that second sponsor, the cash will start to flow and we'll start to make some progress. But guys, that is it. I'm going to stop waffling. Hopefully you enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's try and smash over 1,000 likes. I feel like we're turning a corner finally. I think we are getting somewhere, but that pull chair moment was a bit of an inconvenience. Nonetheless, hopefully you enjoyed it. As always, a massive shout out to the members for supporting the content. Finally, check out the videos on screen if you haven't seen them already. And yeah, guys, I'll see you all next time. Until then, take care. That's all from me.